this is going to be a summary of the rest of what's here, which is that I've done a bunch of testing with the QA system in both using the old server, the one that we've been using, and the new one. They both seem to be having the same behavior. And that behavior is that files aren't processing. It doesn't seem to matter what type. Monthly tons might be the exception, but generally the watch file and the in file will be there, and it will process for about a minute. The service will stop. It'll start again. It'll stop. It'll start again and be on for another minute, and just nothing happens. It writes part of the log file and then stops, and it doesn't seem to matter how much longer it stays in. It doesn't error. It just seems to get stuck. Now, there have been a few exceptions. Some of them have gone through. For this one, see if one's gone through in here. Now, these ones were a couple weeks ago when we first put this in, but we had ones right away that worked. We haven't had much luck in on this new server. Switching over the integration back to the old server. I had one that worked today too, and then the other ones after that didn't. And I've tried both the test data and then also just pulling files from production that had just run today and trying to run those ones through. And again, I don't know if it's probably not a data mismatch, at least not as far as older data versus newer data, because those typically would just error. There seems to be something else that's still hidden behind here, almost like maybe there's another file like the one that you'd pointed out before that had been updated to a newer file type during some of our earlier testing that needed to be reverted back to production. Don't know if there's something like that or what else it might be. Because yeah, even monthly tons, you can see here that this one it's doing something once a minute. It's once every 51 seconds is popping something else out. But it doesn't look like the typical processing we have for monthly tons, where we'll have a series of errors for all the products where it can't find it because we send some material back that doesn't exist in Checkmate. And so we'll see a lot of errors, and we're not seeing that here. So it seems to not be processing. And I did a lot with trying to check file permissions, and all that seems to be fine, especially because in the old server that we know that worked, and it still works, and I can get into it with by mapping a drive using the service accounts that we're using. I changed this from using for the service using the default for the server to the service account that we'd set up for this, that we know have permissions, and that still doing the same thing. So there does seem to be something, something's wrong with the QA system is what it looks like. It doesn't look like a change because of the server, but I don't know where to go from here. Now the rest of this recording is me doing a bunch of troubleshooting because I thought I had it isolated, and so that was running through to demonstrate that isolation, but it turned out it wasn't isolated. So, but it's even at 30 minutes, it's somewhat of a summary. And but yeah, that's kind of where we are. Here's our current situation with the integrations with Checkmate. So I've switched over in QA the integration configuration files to go to our new server. Looking here on our QA Checkmate environment, this is our management console, which looks at some of the items that are available for the integration itself. And right now I have an in file that I can import, but I don't have a watch file there yet. So it's able to see this this item that's ready to come in. So what I'll do now is, and right now you can see that the service is running. And if you look in services, you can also see it running. So one thing that I did change is that in this LOLA service before, that as part of diagnosing this, it was set to local system account, and it was working like this, maybe even worse. So I'm not sure if this actually made a difference or not, but I changed it to the service account that we have. And I also mapped a drive to there using this account and was able to move things, edit things. So it doesn't seem like, it seems like the rights are there, and Vern confirmed that the rights to that server with the integrations for this folder are available. So now what I'll do is make the watch file available. So I'm going to drop this into watch-in. So now it sees it. So it's going to start processing it, or it should start processing it. And it did start creating a log file for it. Now, when this was set to the other, it looks like it may have run through it again. I think it may have been a retry that it just did. Doing a similar file like this and using the old server, this was already finished by now, and moved it through, and it was in the archive folders. But here it seems to be having trouble with it, but it doesn't actually have any errors that pop up. It just seems to get stuck. And then the service stops. And so you can see it stopped here. And then you'll see a flash about like once a minute. And it says it stopped. And I can start it and it just does more of the same. If I start now. Actually, one of the differences between this and the other one is that when it was just running off of the local account, when I would do that, it would come up with an error. So I think the local account had no rights. And so this is a step up from there. It worked initially when I did it, probably because we still had it wide open. So again, this is different than what we were seeing before. So one thing I can try now is, I think, is there anything else I can check? Oh yeah, as verification, what I'll do is still have it here. So I have a mapped drive, and it's using this same service account that I've got the service running. So I can get in, and I'm going to take the watch file and move it into quarantine. So it allowed me to move it. And I'm also going to move this into quarantine. So again, it allowed me to do both of them. We know that this log file that I created is here. And it's the same stuff that we saw on the there. So as a next step, what I'm going to do here is, now that I've got this, I'm going to stop the service, and I'm going to switch over to the old, to our old server. The way I'm going to do it is by going to C service. put our old integration INI file, and there's a second one. Now I have the old location, so this is going to point back at our previous, at our previous server location for the one that we're going to decommission. So now I've started the service again, and I think this is now pulling from the should be pulling from the new location, I think. We'll check that out. Let's see if I've already done this one. It shouldn't matter if I've done it right. Not a different one. Okay, so what I'll do here is now I'm going to move these over to the in folder. So now I'll take the same file that we had, this 81, move it to in. So now it's ready to be picked up. It looks like it's not seeing it yet. Okay, I think I'm gonna have to reboot the server to do that. So when I do that, I'm gonna put this on pause. Well, I'll just check again. No, that exit and come back in first. Oh, okay, good. That's all I need to do. I needed to close this and bring this back up. So this one's here ready for it. So now if I move the if I move the watch file in, then it should process, and it should process pretty quickly. So now going to the old watch in. I take our file here and drop this in, and it should pop up here. And seems to be a problem with this one. Maybe this is the problem. problem might be this item, because it's still doing this, and now this is in our old one. So let me try, I'll stop this. And I'm going to switch it back to the new integration folder, and I will be right back. I brought it back up under the new server. So we'll try another one. And maybe there's something wrong with that one in particular. We'll try 82 this time. And what I'm going to do is, just so we can get the date on today's date, just resave it as is, just to update the date. Move it into in. There it is. Now I'll move this into watching. And it sees it. And it doesn't seem to like it. So I'm not really sure why these ones aren't working. Yeah, this one also isn't working. So what I'm going to do is move those back. And get ones from production that I've actually run. So here's a package item that has just gone in production just a few minutes ago, actually. I wonder if the number's too small. Could it even be something like that? And what I'm going to do is make a copy of it that will serve as the watch file. This has some of the material in there, but that should work fine. Go here. Now this one's running again. Now let's use this watch file in the in folder, but we'll take that out. Just move it down here to the root. Take this and drop it into watch-in. I'm glad I dropped it there. So this one doesn't seem to be being picked up either. And this is one that's straight from production. So that didn't work. Just in case, I'm going to exit that. I'm going to reboot this server, see if that makes any difference. In fact, just in case there is, well, no, what I'll do is I'll just reboot this. And then if this works for some reason, after rebooting it, then we'll try the other file. I won't make you sit through this, so I'll pause this and come back when it's ready. So I've restarted the server, and it's still getting caught on this file. So there's something wrong with package items, obviously. So let me discard those ones. I think item cross-reference are working. So I'll do this one. Here I'm just going to do a quick modification, undo it, and then save just to get the date up today. Put this in, move to watch in. Okay, so this one isn't working either. So what does work? I thought I got one to work. These ones worked back in November. This package item worked when we had it in on this server. Oh, is it going? No. But when I switched this back, it seemed like it still wasn't working, so don't know what the deal is. Maybe I need another reboot then too. We'll try that. We'll switch it back and then we'll try it again on the old server. Okay, so I've moved these out, so now I should have something fresh here. Now we'll try the same file that we're just having trouble with. The one that came from production, I think I still have that one. So there it is. And now I'll do the same for watch it. So it's here. And it looks like it's choking on it again. So now that the, oops. Although, wait, did it actually work? 626. See, this one I got through. I don't know what the difference is. Let's try another type. This one gave an actual error number, I think. Yeah, monthly tons doesn't seem to be working either. So there seems to be just something generally wrong. I wonder if this is, maybe this one's working. We'll let this go for a little bit, and then I'll start this again. Yeah, I don't know if this one's going to go anywhere, but it seems to be going much slower than it used to. And we are pulling from the old server, so I don't think this is a new server versus old server thing. It seems to be something with the environment. We've pulled production data, so it doesn't seem to be a data integrity thing. So I'm not really sure where we've ended.